We are so lost sometimes in dystopian scenarios, and what we need is an encouraging new image of a possible future.
We are, as a human being, we are thinking with the words and with the pictures in our mind, and using the words and pictures to communicate to citizens, it could be very, very challengeable. Art is a language that everyone can understand it very well. With this project, we have the possibility to bring something new, something that the people can feel it, can touch it, can understand it, and can use it as an experiment.
Art cannot change the world, but it asks questions and it opens up utopian possibilities. And I think this is very important to get this inspiration and get out of their own box and bubble. My name is Christina Hoge and I'm a curator and project manager at State. And State is a Berlin-based initiative that builds cultural programs at the intersection of art, science and society to help forward ideas for a sustainable future. Last year, in October 2021, all 12 STARTS partners set up an international open call for artists. And after a selection process, Felix Gethke won with his project Berlin 2037 because his vision of the city's future is truly inspiring. He manages to activate the viewer in a physical way by sitting on the bike, and at the same time sends him or her on this mental journey to a desirable tomorrow. And the project opens up a lot of space for research-based knowledge and also technological knowledge, and it gives the public or the viewers very nice access to the world and to engage.
I applied to the residency because it fitted very well to the project Berlin 2037 that we had been working on prior. The spark of the idea came from Vincent Productions and came to us for VR experience. So Berlin 2037 is a cyber-physical VR, multi-sensorial VR installation, which means it's a bicycle on a stand in which you can cycle. That's stationary, but you wear a VR headset, and by wearing that VR headset, you're not physically moving, but you're in the VR world, moving with your bicycle through a present-day Berlin as well as a utopian future for Berlin that is imagined by a 14-year-old girl who has a bicycle accident and then wants to reimagine how the city should be. And she is also a 3D nerd, so she is the one that builds all these different worlds and allows you to cycle through the Berlin she created.
In my Berlin of the future, you have way more options to move freely through the city. You only need one app for all these bicycles, scooters, sharing cars and public transport. You choose the means of transport that is best suited to you at the moment.
How are these VR experience created kind of depends. In this case, we used many different techniques. On the one hand, we have the canvas that we are working with of photogrammetry scans. So what that means is we scanned large-scale areas in Berlin with photographs. So you take a lot of photographs of a space, you stitch them together and recreate the space in 3D. And this is kind of the canvas for then the future, and the future is animated. There's a 3D animations that are layered on top of that. Then in order to bring our actor in the scene, we work with volumetric videos. We work with the Volucap studio here in Babelsberg, where we basically are able to film a character in full 3D in a kind of dome setup that then can be later placed in the scene.
Oh, hi! Welcome!
There's much more to this, and that's why it requires big teams, so it's not only me, there are many people involved in this. To work on this project, it's really, really crucial to get, on the one hand, the input from the experts, because, as I said before, none of us is a mobility expert. We are VR creators, 3D animators, designers, and whatnot. Some parts of the story are fantastical, but some parts we still want to have grounded in reality, and for that we need the input from the experts.
My name is Paricha Sharifi. I'm coming originally from Iran, living about 20 years in Germany, and I'm traffic psychologist and psychotherapist. I'm working as a consulting there, and it's about how we can make the city, Berlin, attractive much more for bicyclists. My responsibility in this case was at the beginning to make some analysis of what we need really in Berlin. We had a very small local group came together and we watched together what is needed really. We want to motivate the people to make a new Berlin. At this moment we have really very high statistic of accidents in Berlin with the bicycles as well, and it is a reality of today. Berlin has another problem at this moment, that we have air pollution as well, and if we can change a little bit the situation in Berlin and motivate the people that they use the alternative mobility or care about the bicyclists as well in Berlin, then we have a better situation for the future. It is very important after we have some outcomes from the science that we can publish it and we can use them as well. We are living in a time from applied science at this moment. It means if you have some theoretical background and bring it to the application parts, it is very important to communicate it with citizens as well.
Today we are showing the current status of the project for the first time to a broader audience. So on the one hand to the experts, some of them have already seen earlier stages of the project and we have implemented some of the things we have been discussing, but also to a larger Berlin public to see how they feel about the project and to get their input into this, this experience.
Berlin in this utopian VR experience was really interesting and not that utopian for me. So it seems to be very makeable somehow, more space for people to live in cities and actually live, not just walking from one point to another or drive, but you have more space for everything. So, and it's not that dangerous anymore, and there are just good points for me actually. I hope it's going to be more in this direction in the future.
Well, the utopian Berlin was obviously somewhat related to the real one, but it was a perspective I'd never seen. Like cycling next to this canal I'm so familiar with was certainly really cool. And I also really liked how the girl's voice that narrates you through it, how she brought up certain questions that I hadn't really thought about before. We cycle every day, we don't have a car, we have 2 children, all we do is by bicycle. And yet, I've never really had an impression really of what it could be like to cycle on a separate bicycle lane next to the water, safe from all the cars. And to just sit on an actual bike and to look at something makes it feel a lot more real and tangible.
We need some new things, some new techniques and arts to bring really a new motivation for the people, not just by words, not just by talking with them, not just by forcing them, and something that motivates them in a natural way. And the art is really very important part of this project.
This project has the potential to ask questions. Maybe it doesn't give answers or concrete solutions, but it opens up new possibilities and a new out-of-the-box thinking, which is very important, and this is also the power of art.
What I hope to achieve with Berlin 2037 is that it allows people to imagine a different, positive future for Berlin. I think we are surrounded by many dystopian narratives in our everyday life, and I think it's important to also create utopian visions. That doesn't mean that everything in that experience has to be implemented one-to-one into the future of Berlin, but I think it should allow audiences to think different and that things are not set in stone and things can change and cities can change. And cities do change all the time, and we can influence that change towards a better city that's more livable for all people.